Welcome to another edition of the Unsexy Businessmen podcast, where we talk about all things unsexy businesses and entrepreneurship. I am Alex Skinner. As always, I'm joined by my brother, Aaron Skinner. And you're probably wondering, Alex, why is your hair looking nice? Where's the hat at? And it's because I have client calls today. And that is actually what we are going to be talking about. So if you ever see me dressed like this, it means I'm probably going to put on a collared shirt over this white shirt, of which I look incredibly white today. Like, not bad, not bad. Jeez, it's
Is that a
just
long
blended.
sleeve?
I swear I'm wearing a shirt. I swear I am in fact wearing a shirt. You cannot see my nipples. That's how my son says shirtless is, can I see your nipples? That's how he refers to shirtless. That's awesome. But we're talking about clients today, the good, the bad, and dare I say the ugly, just to use the, what's that word? What's that word that, when people like say the cliche, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But in reality, I would say, like, for me, most client interactions are like relatively good. The reason being is things that we're going to be going over today. And usually when things are bad, it has something to do with a miscommunication or a misunderstanding of expectations. So just hopping into it right now, Aaron, favorite moment or least favorite moment or whatever it is that you want to like share in terms of like, oh, this was like the moment where I was like, this is how you deal with clients.
I'm so glad you said expectations, because it's one of those things where I'm going to get to your actual question, but it's one of the things we taught all of our employees was, so for like carpet cleaning, window cleaning, whatever it was, as soon as you get to the job, do a walkthrough with the client and then immediately set expectations. The one, God, did I tell the oil story on another podcast? I can't remember.
Tell it again.
I'll tell it again. So we went to a client called and she said, hey, I have like a couple of stains I need to get out. And we're like, okay, sounds good. We can come over, take a look at it, give you an estimate. And I must, it doesn't matter. If you're new, you get to hear the story again, or you don't get to, it's new for you. Anyway, so we get to the house. And her living room looked like it was a place where they were doing oil changes for a car oil change company. They were like I'm not joking, dude. It was like 30 of these like perfectly just like black oil stains just throughout their living room. And so there are a couple of stains turned into 30 stains. And so the first thing we did was just like set expectations, like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go over it once. We're going to use some stain remover. There's a chance this isn't going to come out, but we're going to do everything in our power and with our knowledge and everything to get them out. We ended up getting out like, I think almost all of them. And it looked really, really, the only one we couldn't get out still lightened up enough where you couldn't really see it. But even though we set that expectation and even though it looked really, really good after, and they were very happy after, the next day, one of the stains, this happens in carpet cleaning a lot, had one of the stains had resurfaced and they were livid about it. And so we go back, we treat it again, and they wanted the whole thing for free. And I was like, yeah, we're not going to do this. I'm going to ramble up for so long about this. I guess the point if we wouldn't have at least set the expectations, and that's the other thing too, was that, hey, there's a chance some of these might resurface, just let us know. She had forgotten we told her that. And just dealing with an angry customer like that taught us just reinforced the importance of setting expectations the entire time, doing walkthroughs, and then good communication. When she called, and when I know we're going to talk about this, good communication. We addressed the issue. We went back. We fixed the problem. It ended up being fine. I think that might have been the type of customer that was really just looking for free work more than anything. And so we didn't give it to her for free. I don't know. I rambled for a long time, but that was like, I think for me, like we knew that setting expectations were important, but that job in particular, I just never forget. I was like, and this is why you always set expectations and you always have good communication with your clients.
Well, I think that goes to where I want to go first. So there's a difference between commercial clients and residential clients. And I believe the example that you're talking about right there, even though it was the Jiffy Lube of residential homes,
Yeah.
was a residential individual.
Yeah.
Just know there is a huge difference between commercial clients and residential clients. The big difference is residential customers are usually paying their own money, whereas commercial clients, generally speaking, sometimes you might be talking to the business owner or the owner of the building, are using money that does not belong to them, so they care a lot less. They still want a good job to be done, but they are a lot less aggressive when it comes to anger. I've seen this with
Yes.
in the companies that I work with. I usually see this as like large corporations versus small businesses. So when you're working with like mid-level marketers, like they have no idea what they're paying us. And so they're just like, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Like they're still getting their paychecks, so they don't care. Whereas business owners, when you're working directly with them, they are seeing that money go and they're much more cognizant of every single dollar and how it's paying. So it's almost inverse with like unsexy businesses and businesses that I work in, where though it's not coming directly from their bank account per se, it is coming from the company's bank account that the owners can see. So just know the expectations that you're going to have to set are going to be different for each of those business and or I guess client types, not business types. And I have noticed that the expectations have to be so well set in Aaron's scenario, so well set with those people, and then give yourself a little bit of grace when those people suck, because you are going to deal with people who suck, and no matter how great of expectations you set, they're still going to be upset.
Yeah, it's funny because our largest client we ever had complained by far the very least. And it's the same. Yeah, that's why the manager we were dealing with, it wasn't his money. It was this like it was like they were making hundreds of millions of dollars a year in the branch that the entire company was making hundreds of millions of dollars a year. We were doing one of their branches, and yeah, they didn't care. As long as you had good communication, good relationships, that was huge too. We had very good relationships with the managers of the buildings. But yeah, they never go. Dude, we got so many more complaints from residential stuff than we, just to prove your point, than we ever got from commercial things. It was pretty rare that we'd get a complaint from a commercial job. It was usually something small and we'd fix it right away. Is that how you notice that? Like, if you're dealing with more of like smaller type businesses, is that when they're like right on top of every single thing? Well, hey, you said you're going to start this new strategy yesterday and it's not working. What's going on?
100%.
As opposed to like a larger company.
It's that, and if they are bad at managing their finances.
Oh, gotcha.
So I've worked with clients where we've been like pretty status quo for a long period of time. And then like all of a sudden I can start to feel, and you got to pay attention to these things too. Like some people are going to come directly to you and say, hey, this thing, this thing, this thing. And then there are going to be other people who are just like vaguely talking in generalities about things like, hey, what about this thing and this thing? Like they have more questions than they normally do. It might not be combative and it might not be angry, but they're coming more frequently with like questions. If your client is normally like pretty quiet when you're giving them updates on stuff, and then all of a sudden becomes very talkative and asking a lot of questions, it means something's going on. So keep them on the phone. Get to the root of whatever the problem is so that you know, because you're making you have to make informed decisions that are going to help your customer out. With an example recently, I was like, man, you sure are asking about like, hey, what was this charge for? Hey, what was this charge for? Hey, what was this charge for? And then I talked with the customer. I was like, all right, so like we're actually we did spend a lot more this year than we did last year, but we also got a lot more leads. Our close rate is down, but I've been noticing that you're talking a lot more about like a $49 charge that just came through, a $19 charge that came through. Like, let me understand like what's going on in the ecosystem right now. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I have to pay my employee this amount of money, even if I can't get them the hours. We're bringing on new equipment. So now I have a $2,000 a month charge for this new piece of equipment that I have. I'm like, oh, okay. So we are in a slow season. your costs have gone up exponentially because of new things that didn't exist last year. So you feel like things are going worse than they actually are, but it's really just you have these new costs that you didn't have before. And then letting them know what the plan, what the strategy is, and then what and ultimately what the strategy is we are there when people are looking for our service. There just isn't the demand for it right now. That's normal. The demand is going to come back and we're going to forget about this. So a lot of times I have noticed in my client relationship work, it's a lot of like talking off the ledge.
Yeah.
Wish you could step back from that ledge, my friend. Helping people just be like, hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And that probably seems like very simple, but you would be amazed how few people and businesses actually do that. Most businesses view transactions as purely business transactions when in reality what you're dealing with is humans and human psychology. You're more of you need to be like way more adept at psychology and understanding people, going back to Aaron's point about relationships, then you really need to have business acumen, because if you can deal with people, you can solve any business problem. If you can solve any business problem, but you can't solve people, people will leave you eventually because
Yeah, because they don't like you.
doesn't matter how awesome you do. I
Yeah.
don't feel secure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's almost to like one of the next points is when you're dealing with an angry customer, how do you deal with an angry customer? Like the first thing you have to do is not take it personally, which is really hard for business owners, because if someone says, hey, your service sucked, it's almost like a direct insult on you because you're the one that created that service. And so I would always just kind of take myself away from like they're talking about the business. They're not talking about me personally. The worst thing you could do is get mad. Like that's the worst thing you could do is just escalate the issue. And so it comes down to the same thing every time. Communication, getting to like the root of the actual problem of what happened, where sometimes they might be mad about one thing, but it's really they just had a bad day with something else. And this is where relationships come into place as well. But like the first thing you do is don't get mad, find out what they're actually mad about, and then address the issues, and then let them know how you're going to fix it and when you're going to fix it. Just don't say, oh yeah, we'll get it taken care of. All right, good talking to you. See you later. Like let them know like, hey, I understand that this is going on. Like the stain example, like, all right, a stain came back. We'll be there tomorrow at 10 a.m. and we'll take a look at it and we'll get this taken care of. And that makes them feel better. But if you don't address all of those kind of key points, first of all, with not getting angry and not getting offended, you're just going to lose clients, because if you do all of those things and you fix the issue and you can make that client happy, that client's never going to leave. Like you might have, there's crazy people. So maybe so it's a lot less likely they're going to try and find somebody else, because now they know if there is an issue, you're going to fix it immediately and the problem is going to be solved and they're going to be happy. So they're not only going to keep calling you, but they're going to tell their friends about you, which, the word of mouth is the greatest way to grow your business anyway.
And to back that up, I've seen this number before. Like, customers who have issues and get them resolved show higher loyalty toward the company. I'm going to give you a percentage that comes from SEMrush that says 82% of customers say that they are likely to stay if they receive value enhancement after a negative interaction. And then 50% are going to be more loyal if you just take care and resolve the problem. So don't be afraid. Like I've used my example a bunch of times with the people who did my lawn care, and they just sat on it for a week instead of trying to resolve it as quickly as possible. Not even resolve it, address it. That's the better word to use. Address it as quickly as possible and figure out the communication style that is going to allow you to address it the most. If you suck at emailing, don't address it via email. If you suck at text messaging, don't do it via text. If you suck at phone calls, don't do it via phone call. If you suck at Zoom call, like whatever form of communication you want to use. If they're like, find the way that you are best at resolving issues. More importantly, the way that they prefer is probably going to be the best way to go, even if it's something that you suck at. If they prefer text, if they prefer whatever it is, like go that direction. and then resolve whatever issue is going on. And it keeps using the word resolve. Address the issue and then resolve it. Like, you just need to make
Yes.
sure that I go back to anytime I talk to anybody about like client relationships, it's like they just want to know that you care. They want to know that you have some passion for what they're doing and that you're not going to abandon them, and that they want to feel in that warm, fluffy blanket. Sometimes the blanket comes off and the chill winter cold hits their chest, and they're just like, oh, you got to get that blanket back on them as quickly as possible. That's the addressing the issue. I see that you're cold. The way that we're going to solve that is wrap you back up in the blanket, is whatever your solution is going to be for them. Like, I love whenever like we're talking to prospective clients and I can say, and this is a knock on wood situation. It's like, we have never lost a client. We have fired a client, but we have never lost a client. And I know what the reason is for that is because we make them feel warm and comfortable, and all of the other companies, agencies that they've worked with in the past treat them cold. They treat them
Just a number.
as a number that is bringing money into a business that they don't care about. And it always blows my mind because it goes back to like one of the greatest teachings from the Bible that Aaron brought up recently, where it's like, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Like, how would you feel if this was your business, or let's just say like this was your carpet, this was your roof, this was your garage that got epoxied, it was your, like, how would you feel if this is what happened? So in my situation with the lawn care service, like, just homeboy, how would you feel if it was your lawn that just had a giant piece of lawn equipment that gashed a hole and is sitting there in your backyard? What would you want the person to do? It really isn't that complicated. It is like the cliche of all cliches. Just walk a mile in another man's shoes to figure out what they'd want you to do. And yet, people are still afraid to do it. And the reason, I know why people are afraid of conflict. It's as
Yes.
like we avoid
Yeah.
it like the plague, whereas you just gotta, obstacle is the way, call back. You just gotta get through the issue.
But the irony of that, of not liking conflict, is it's only going to get worse and worse and worse the more you put off that conflict. And so in your situation, Alex, if they would have called you even 2 days later, because how long was it there? Was it there for like 2 weeks? Like an insane amount of time?
They responded after 7 days, because that's when I left the very bad review.
Well, that's
when they finally
insane.
responded.
That's insane. It was 7 days.
Right.
But if they would have called within 2 days, you would have been, I would assume, a little less angry than 7 days. And so that's
a lot less angry.
So that's kind of the point of like, listen, no one really likes conflict. It does suck. It's uncomfortable. But the longer you wait, the worse it's going to be. And the worse that it can be is they end up firing you as a service provider. So if you're fine with, first of all, just losing that client in general, and then you're also fine with all of the bad word of mouth that you're going to get because of it, then yeah, don't ever call them. Avoid that conflict. And I just promise you, your business isn't going to go anywhere if you're so afraid of conflict that you don't want to solve problems for your customers. Because another ironic part about it, the whole purpose of your business is solving problems. So for you, Alex, like, you needed someone to mow your lawn, a problem that needed to be solved. Like, just because the main service is taking care of one problem doesn't mean you shouldn't be good at doing or solving other problems. So you need to be good just in general at solving problems. And so if there's something that comes up where the client isn't happy, address it immediately. You're going to deal with clients that are so much less angry if you don't put it off. I don't get that. Like, I had an issue with a plumber, and it took him like fucking forever to get back. And like, you know what I hate too? I don't want to get up too much of a tangent. I hate phone trees. I hate calling into a place and not getting an actual person, and then you have to go through some stupid phone tree, and it's like a small bit. Like, you don't need a phone tree for your small business. How about when I call you, you actually answer your phone, and then we can deal with the problem, as opposed to you telling me, "Hey, listen to the options. They've changed. Listen carefully. The options have changed." Like, no, they haven't. They've been the same the entire time. Whenever you set it up. I know this is going way off top. I had to deal with this recently, so it really annoyed me. And it's the thing we talk about all the time. Answer your phone. Answer your phone. They'll definitely call you if there's an issue. Answer your phone, address it, fix it. It's going to, if you are the one who's known as the company that answers your phone always and fixes problems always, whether it's going to fix a mistake or to help them get stains out of their carpet, and you're going to do it promptly, that's how your business grows. In any service, actually any business, yeah, I guess all businesses are some sort of service. Yeah, that's. But why? Like, I get it. People like conflict. Do people not understand by not solving the conflict, their business is going to get screwed? I don't know. I don't know why people who want to run a business are so afraid of talking to someone that they're, might not be happy with what the service was. I don't know. It's so weird to me.
I mean, I think it just goes back to what you said. Like people just like avoiding conflict. It's something that we talked about a while ago, like comfort. Like I just want to be comfortable, and conflict is discomfort. But once you get through the discomfort, you'll be comfortable again, as
Yeah.
opposed to prolonging the discomfort.
Like,
Because
wouldn't
it's
that
just
be
like
in the
you're
back of
always
your
going to have that.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Be in the back of your mind, like those people who are just like, the owner had to have it in the back of his mind. He's like, shit, man, we have that mower or whatever it was that's sitting in Alex's lawn. Oh man, I don't know what we're gonna do with that. Like, are people so absent-minded, like business owners so absent-minded that they just like, it's
Well,
almost
that's
like,
what's crazy too. Like understanding how expensive that piece of equipment is.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I was shocked by. It took him. I always like forget this because anytime I bring this up, my wife's like, it wasn't in our yard that long. Like it felt like it was there the entire week.
yeah.
But she said that they came and got it on Saturday. So I think they came on a Thursday, so it was there for 2 days,
Oh,
which is still crazy.
that is
That's still crazy. And I helped the MFers get it out.
But you want to know what? You're not, even though this is a perfect example, dude, because even if it's only there for 2 days, you're not telling their potential future clients that it was there for 2 days. You're telling their potential clients that they're not going to get anymore. It was there for a week. And that's exactly what all clients that aren't happy are going to do. They're going to embellish it to the extreme that whatever happened was way worse than it actually was. And so even if it was only there 2 days, you're telling people it was there for 3 years. Like, and then they're like, well, I'm never going to use that person. So more proof you should take care of problems immediately, as opposed to taking your sweet ass time to get the equipment off Alex's lawn.
It's kind of funny as we're talking about this too. I totally forgot that they came a week because we were set up on a bi-weekly thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't talk to us for a week, and then he had sent them again. Still hadn't resolved the issue, but had sent his crew again.
Did they mow around
like
it?
For the second week? And like, no, I stopped him. Like I saw him come up like, hey, like we don't use your service anymore. Like, oh, you guys are on the schedule. I'm like, we do not use your service anymore. Please leave.
Please leave. Yeah.
I was just like, and how'd that happen? Like maybe I wasn't explicit enough at how upset I was. Like that, like the moxie on that person be like, yeah, they're still a customer.
That's funny. Yeah, that is.
And actually, but with all of this that we're talking about, maybe I'm just like a really over crazy client or something like that. Like, how do you go about assessing, oh, you're just crazy versus we need to resolve this?
It's experience. Like, I'm still gonna resolve it as much as I can. And I think the experience part of it is like you're dealing with things that don't go correctly, especially once you have employees and they're out doing a service, there's a very good likelihood that they didn't do something correctly. So I always like believe what the customer is telling me. And then usually I'd go out and look, and then sometimes my employees would be like, dude, we did this house and this person was insane. They'd kind of tell me the whatever behind it. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, maybe. And then you start talking to the customer and you're like, yes, you are insane. But then how you deal with that is just, it was very rare, but sometimes I'm like, you get a full refund. Like, just, it's not worth the $300 to deal with this and argue with you about why you should at least have, pay for partial service or whatever it is. But you can tell really quickly when you're dealing with a reasonable person and when you're dealing with an unreasonable person. And most of the time, it's like, okay, sounds good. Congratulations, you won life. You got a free $300 carpet cleaning. Good for you. Like, okay, great. We're going to move on with other ones. And then most importantly, I put their phone numbers in my phone as crazy customer, don't do business with them. So they would call back. Sometimes they're like, hey, we need to get our carpets cleaned again. I'm like, yeah, we can't do that. I would just be like, yeah, we're 4 months out, so we're not going to be able to get you taken care of, or whatever it was, or I just wouldn't answer if I saw they were calling. But that's the thing is like mark down the crazy customers, and so you don't accidentally deal with them again. So that's what it. My phone was not completely filled, but there was probably a couple dozen of don't answer this person's insane customer. I'd usually leave like a little note in the like a little description. It was a very when their phone call when they'd call, it'd be a long whatever. I'm like, oh, this must be a crazy. And then I'd read through. I'm like, oh yeah, that person. I'm not gonna answer it.
Well, I was actually going to ask this question, and you said dozens. This is the like huge exception to the rule. Like, this isn't scientific what I'm about to ask you, but like, if you're going to put a percentage on it, like, yeah, 10% of people were crazy, 5% of people were crazy.
Oh, dude, well, we had thousands of customers, so it was a very, very small, like 2%, 1%, less than 1%, maybe. That were. Let me do that math real quick. Let me do math. Let's just
I always,
say, let's say there was 30 crazy customers.
because we've
Oh
used
my
like a lot
God.
of,
Yes, it's very small. It's like 0.3%.
okay, so very small.
Very, very small. Yes. So it's not a regular thing, but you do probably some of the fringe crazy ones, because we were good at solving issues, didn't become full crazy ones. So we are still able to make them happy, fix the issue, and then still work with them. But there were just a very, very, very small minority of ones that just like, it's like anywhere, dude. Go out in public, go to Disneyland or go to Costco, and then you'll just inevitably run into somebody that's crazy. And it's just they're out there. Crazy people are out there, and you can't have a reasonable conversation with an unreasonable person. And so I took the L on those and moved on.
And I'm mostly asking that question more from a standpoint of anyone who is listening to this. I like give them a 0.3. Like, we'll even give you a little bit. Like, if over 3% of your clientele are crazy, it might be a you problem that you
Yes.
need to figure out.
Yes. Because like I said, dude, like there would be ones who would call in like livid and they were mad about something. We would go like address the issue, and it's interesting too, because we go address the issue, get it fixed, and they'd be like, I'm so sorry. You know, my work's been insane, and this happened to me. My grandma just died or something happened. So I was just in a really bad mood when I called you. And and so just because someone calls and they're freaking out, I don't immediately like, this person's crazy, I'm not going to deal with this. But like, people have shit going on in their life. Like, and then so
Dude.
that's why you got to figure that part out. And that was probably that was more of the rule when we had someone angry calling us, is because they had other stuff going on, and this was just the trigger point of them blowing up. They wanted to unload on somebody. It's easy to unload on the window cleaner,
Person you
carpet
don't know.
cleaner. Yeah, and someone you don't know. And so that would happen when it did happen, it was usually because of those types of situations. So I didn't mark it as my phone as crazy person don't do business with again. It was, just regular customer.
Client grandma died.
Yeah, or whatever. Like, yeah.
So the next time that they called up, you're like, so how?
Don't ask
how have
about
you
their
been doing
grandma
since your grandma died a year ago? You've been able to recover from that. At
Yes.
least you didn't take it out on your kids.
Yeah, just
It is-
don't immediately
it is-
think everyone's crazy.
Well, it's a fascinating, and I don't want to go too much down this rabbit hole, but it is a fascinating conversation that maybe we'll talk about later, of like going back to like human psychology and how just dealing with people is so incredibly complicated, because everyone has their things that are going on in their life. Everyone has the things that they hide. Everyone has the things that they're willing to talk to people about. And so, yes, you have no idea. I don't think necessarily it justifies them freaking out on you. Cool of those people who like apologize for like
Yeah.
things that are going on. But as a business owner, you can never have anything going on in your life. Like, I think it is incredibly important. All of especially when you're dealing with employees and with clients, nothing. Like you can't let anything get in the way of providing the service. And maybe it's just like, oh, you're taking way too much and putting it on your shoulders. Like, because I've dealt with clients who like it's very obvious, and like sometimes I just want to be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like how can I help out? But like you pick and choose the clients that you do that with, because there's clients who are a little bit more prideful than other ones. But it's very obvious when I'm like, all right, something crazy is going on in your life right now, whether it be work, whether it be family. I'm going to try to be the least amount of the pain point as possible.
Yes. Yeah.
Ay, ay.
Yeah. And that too, like there would be times when we'd have, it didn't happen a lot, but there were times where it was like the fourth angry customer that called that day. And I had to treat them like they were the first angry customer that called that
Right.
day. If you're like, and it was, and some of them were like, let's just say they were all legitimate complaints because the new employee that you have, or maybe as an older employee, just wasn't doing a good job that day. And so you just got a bunch of complaints. Every time someone called, I was never like, oh my God, seriously? You're the fourth call today about some of the complaint. Like, it was always like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that happened. Yeah, never be the one that's venting to the customers. You're always just taking it from the customer, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that happened, and let me get this taken care of. No matter how pissed off you are, because there was times when I was like livid, and I would be livid at the employee, and they'd call in the next complaint called in, and I had to pretend like everything was great that day. I don't need to pile on to their complaints. So yeah, dude, that's so true. I have a question for you, Alex. Is the customer always right?
No, but you got to make them feel like they are.
How do you do that?
I whenever I do it, I never say no. I never say no. So when a client requests something or says something needs to be done on a certain way, I never say no. I provide them with the ROI. If we do this thing, this is what you can expect to happen, and this is what you can expect for it to cost. If you want this thing to happen, this is what you can expect, and this is what you want it to cost. So with a lot of the stuff that I do, being in digital marketing specifically, there will be, thankfully, I don't have a whole lot of clients who try to like big time me and they're just like, this is like what we need to be doing for strategy or anything like that. They trust us to execute marketing strategy for them. But every now and then they'll be like, hey, why isn't this thing set up like this way? It needs to be set up this way. And then I go, the reason we don't do it that way that you just described is because of this thing, this thing, this thing. Or because if you want us to do that thing that you just described, it's going to cost X amount of money to be able to do that. Would you like us to do that thing? And then usually they'll be like, nope, we don't want to spend that cost because that's the reason we hadn't done it, because it's an incredibly labor and cost intensive thing to do. Or in the other example that I gave, it's actually not the right strategy, even though your best friend is telling you that it is.
Right.
So it's conversations going back to what we've said forever ago. It's framing things for the client. So I never want to make my client feel stupid. So that's why I never say no, or I'm not like, why would we do that? But not to say that there haven't been times where I've like made mistakes. Like, for example, I was talking with one client. I was like, what are we doing SEO back in 2016? And I was like, probably should. I thought we like had a good relationship, but I could tell from his response, we didn't have as great of a relationship for me to say that yet. But you have to so just letting everyone know, I'm not perfect at this either. I learn from my mistakes though. You just want, it goes back to like making them feel that care and that comfort that you're taking care of it. So never say, I don't know. Never say no. I'll look into it. Here's the reason why we were doing this. Here's what this thing that you're requesting would cost and the expected return of doing it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Actually, I hate that.
You think they're always right? Just kidding.
I hate that quote, which is misquoted. The customer's always right. And like customers use it always. Hey, remember, customer's always right. And essentially it was the customer's always right. As what it really meant was, if you're providing the service and you're like, if you're not getting customers because your service sucks, the customer's right. Like that's what it really means. If you're not doing the right things and you're not growing your business because of that, the customers that you aren't getting are correct because your service sucks or whatever you're providing sucks. It's not that no matter what, customers are always right. It just, if that was true, every customer would be like, and I want this for free. Like, well, I guess
You're
you're
right.
right. Yeah, it's just like, all right, and you know what? Give me $100. Like, oh, God damn it, the customer's always right. All right, here you go.
Here you go.
Yeah, I hate that quote. That's one of the most misquoted quotes of all time.
Man, and just in general, I think about our Bad Buddy podcast like a lot. And it's just like a good reminder of like people are so pissed off at something like I don't know what it is, but like angry people gonna angry.
Yeah.
And you're going to have those types of clients and it's just like do whatever I can to make this person happy with whatever we've provided and then we'll come back to them when they're having a better day. At some time it's just the issue with humans. Like I've gone through like phases like that where I'm just like mad at the entire world.
Sure.
So I have a lot of grace for like when people are angry and upset about stuff, but we can all be doing a lot better of just like caring less about so much of the things that don't matter. Like
And don't
thing that
affect
helps
us.
me, the thing that helps me a ton, if I wanted to get, this is like weird, but the thing that I do to help get over that like fear of combat, what's the word? Feel of conflict.
Oh,
Is I read Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot. So anyone who doesn't know what the Pale Blue Dot is, it's I believe it was like Cassius or Cassini or some shuttle that got launched into space and it's like a billion miles away. I'm making up all of this right now. But the important thing is it took a picture of Earth in a sun ray and the Earth is like this big, that big. And then Carl Sagan wrote a piece on it called The Pale Blue Dot where it's like all of your angst, all of the things, all of human history, all of everything that you have ever known, ever existed or could exist, blah, 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 blah. All are on that one pale blue dot. Just a reminder of how insignificant everything really is. Go try to have as much fun as possible and forget those difficult things because the difficult things really do not matter and they are the things that take up the most amount of our time. So going back to that conflict thing, resolve it as quickly as possible so that it's not hanging over your head and you like look back on your life and you're like, man, I let that ruin my week. I let that ruin my month. I let that ruin my year. You kind of just have to get over things and move. And I'm not perfect at this. Once again, I just recently over like the last 6 months have started reading that like weekly. And it really does level set me for just like, all right, upset person today, solve the upset problem so I can go on and live my life the way I want to live it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Don't let the things bother you, especially in the news, especially when you're scrolling through your TikTok or your Instagram reels. Luckily, mine
Or your clients.
Or your clients. Yeah, just like don't let it like fix it, move on. Don't look back in anger. I heard you say. So that's what you really need to do. I just made that up. I should write a song about that.
Yeah.
That's like, don't look back. Just keep moving forward. The past is the past. Now we're getting into philosophy. This is really deep.
We do it all. That's
Yeah,
why they call this the Renaissance unsexy businessmen. That's what people are calling us on the Reddits. Awesome. Well, let's hop on over to top 10.
It's the top 10.
Top 10. This is going to be very this is exactly what we were just talking about with customers. So Alex, I'm going to ask you the top 10 customer complaints that you would get
Just in general.
Just in general. Yeah, as a business owner, just in general.
Price.
Alex, that is number 1. Price too high. They never say it's too low. They never say it's too low.
They never do. They never do. Oh, they do, but then they don't purchase from you. Like, oh man, you should be charging more for that. Okay, cool. I'm going to charge this now. I don't want that. Price. Customers, the number one thing customers complain about, like, I was going to just say customer service in general, but like what I mean by that is like poor service or like lack of resolution of the poor service.
It's funny because that could be.
Did I just get 5 of them?
Like 3 of them. Should I give them to you? Should I just give you the?
Okay, well, I'm going to do poor service.
Poor service.
Not on there. Is not the one on there.
But I mean, it's part of poor service. I'll let's get specific of what the poor service, why it would be poor service.
Why it would be poor service. I'm gonna.
I won't count that one as against you, but it's very.
I'm gonna
God,
go.
like all of these are poor service. Like
bad communication.
Yes. Number 5, poor communication.
Not top 10 customer complaints. All right, bad communication. Job done poorly.
Work was not done as expected. Number 4.
Come on, let's go. Could this be my 10 for 10? Work was not done as bad communication. Price. This is not going to be on there. Inexperienced worker.
I'll give this to you. I'll give it to. Was it number 8? Rude or unprofessional staff? Was that be inexperienced?
Because what I was going to say after this one, I was going to say like smelly, obnoxious, like just something to doing with like with the person.
Number 8, rude or unprofessional staff.
Okay.
4 for 4.
I got
Alex.
this one, everyone.
My God.
It's like I've been doing this for my whole life. Price, bad communicate, top 10 complaints. Happy joy. Those are like the really easy ones too. You said there's so many that have to do with like customer service though.
Yeah.
Like poor service.
Yes.
But that's work was not done as expected. Broke something.
No.
Okay. And then the next one that I was going to say after broke something was incomplete work.
I already forgot which ones you said. Which ones have you said?
I said work was not done as expected, so it's probably that one.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Service took too long.
Oh my gosh, this is hard. Because so no one's gonna believe me, but like when I said incomplete work, I like the first thing I thought was like it took too long. Yeah. But anyways.
Well, it's kind of the same. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. So you're 5 for 5. Oh, 5 for 6.
5 for 6. Riveting. Oh my gosh, customer service complaints. We already did price. Is this for service businesses?
It's all businesses.
Okay, so like,
but it's service one is definitely one of these. I mean, they're all of them, but like it's very particular to a service-based business.
Refund took too long to receive.
No, I'm gonna say no. Since you already got the 5, I'm gonna say no.
That's fine. I have 3 more, so I'll try to make these fast because I already got the 5. Especially now that I've missed 2. We already did lack of communication. We already did poor quality work. Mm-hmm. Work was not done as expected. Dude, I don't know if I'm going to be able to guess anymore because I assume that they all have something to do with like the type of work being done. Invoicing was annoying. The way that we went about payment was difficult.
Sure. We already got this. So hidden fees or unexpected charges is hidden number 9. Unexpected charges.
Yeah. That's a very common one. Shipping took too long.
That is not on there. So, all right, top 10 customer complaints. Number 1, price is too high. Number 2, no one called me back. Number 3, service took too long. Number 4, work wasn't done as expected. Number 5, poor communication. Number 6, this one really pisses me off. No shows or missed appointments.
Ooh.
Number 7, problem wasn't fixed properly. We talked about this, Alex.
Okay.
So issues.
Well, to be fair too, I said like the bad communication one, so I would have never guessed that never called me back.
Yes. 8 was rude or unprofessional staff. 9, hidden fees and unexpected charges. Number 10, feeling unvalued or ignored. So a lot of them kind of commingle, but everything we talked about in this podcast addressed these issues. So do what we said in this podcast, and you shouldn't be. Well, I guess we didn't talk about price too high, but whatever. Just know what your value is, and what your competition is, and you'll be good. Everything else we addressed in this podcast. So
and I missed like the most important one. Like my whole thing is like people just want to feel cared for. I didn't get that one. Lack of care. Lack of.
But
care.
that's the problem. Is a lot of this is like just customer service in general. Like.
Yep. Customer service was bad.
You should have said, I guess you just said like bad customer service. I'm like, well, you got 8 of them, Alex. Good job.
Because like, yeah, what is it? Hidden fees was not one of those.
Yeah. Hidden fees.
Yeah. Like literally customer service
is like the only other
so
one.
Pricing and then the rest are, yeah.
Yep. The rest are
it's like customer service was bad. All right. We have some interesting ones today. For business advice, as always, unsexybusinessmen@gmail.com is where you can send these to, or you can leave them in the comments on our social platforms. Laptop's a little farther away, so if I read worse than I normally do, that is why. Hey guys, I own a small HVAC company, 7 techs, 2 office staff, about $1.8 million in revenue. Is that monthly or yearly? Last year, my best technician, we'll call him Jake, was absolutely crushing it. Most efficient guy on the team, highest reviews, customers loved him. He's also been my friend since high school. Wah, wah. In January, I promoted him to operations manager because I was drowning in scheduling, inventories, callback. I figured he knows the field. Everyone respects him. Easy win. Fast forward 6 months. Morale is down. 2 techs told me privately that Jake is power tripping. He's micromanaging installs, rewriting dispatch notes at midnight, and publicly correcting guys in Slack. He says Slack, for anyone who doesn't know, is a messaging device. He says he's just raising standards. And that's like one of my steady B+ guys quit, told me in the exit interview, I didn't sign up to work for Jake. Here's the twist. Jake's production as a tech has dropped, obviously, but his management results are mixed. Revenue is slightly up, but tension is high. He's defensive anytime I bring up feedback and says, you wanted accountability? This is accountability. He's coming over for dinner this Sunday. My wife feels like this is very messy, and she's probably right. What do I do?
SOPs. All right, next question. No, in all honesty, like you have to have like a good sit down with them and be like, dude, it's fine to hold people accountable. The way you're holding people accountable is obviously very off-putting. So maybe let's come up with a strategy of how we're holding people accountable and doing it in a much more effective way. That's not going to lead some of our techs to quit, especially our good techs to quit. And then come up with a plan with him so he can be involved with that. It's like, dude, something clearly isn't working. So let's fix what's not working. And if he is too prideful to even have that conversation, I don't know. What was it? Oh, what was his name? Jake? I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If that dude's too prideful to fix those kind of managing styles, I would move on from him. I would give some boundaries and like, hey, this is what needs to happen. This is what's going to happen if we don't get these changes. Let's work together and make it a happy place to work.
Yeah, I think you have some typos in this too, because it says January and then 6 months later. So that would be June, which would mean it's been over a year since this happened. But I'm assuming that in January, you just put in January, probably because you were writing this in January. But anyways, if it's been 6 months, like, because if it's been a year, it's just like, you're probably out of business. No.
Yeah.
Like,
you
so it's
don't
been
talk
6
to Jake
months.
anymore.
I'm going to operate like it's 6 months, and I'm going to give you the best advice that I can give anybody. You don't promote your best people to manager just because they are your best people. You said Jake was your best tech. Maybe he should just be your best tech for forever. I don't know what your interview process is. I don't know the reason that you decided to create a position as operations manager? Was he planning on leaving? I know you say you were drowning in scheduling, inventory, callbacks, etc. But this almost goes back to a conversation we had before, where it's like you were hiring out of a like I'm being forced to hire right now because I'm
Desperation.
drowning.
Yeah.
So that's part one. You should have been looking for this position a lot earlier on. We can't go back in time and put the genie back in the bottle, right? But for moving forward, be prepared for that. And then also, you cannot just hire someone because they are a good tactician. And that does not mean that they're going to be good at managing people. Do you
Yeah.
think all of these people who are like CEOs and owners, not owners, CEOs, presidents of like multi-billion-dollar companies were like good at what they did? No, most of them were like good at managing people or managing boards, like being able to talk to boards of directors to like communicate like what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. Tacticians do not necessarily, and that's not to say tacticians can't be good managers. It's just more often than not, that is going to be the case. So you might have to fire this dude if it's been 6 months, morale is down. You don't want to lose. You lost a B+ guy already over this.
And
Yeah,
learn from this. Set up an SOP. Set up an SOP for the next person if that's what it takes. If you get rid of Jake, have an SOP in place of what exactly it means to be the project manager or whatever it was. There's operational manager. Have that all in place and very specific so this doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ironic because you were hiring to help with where to go. Scheduling,
to alleviate
inventory, and
stress.
callbacks. Like I was drowning in scheduling, which he wasn't handling, inventory, which he wasn't handling. Like he's still very much a tech who's trying to tell people how to do tech work. So
Yeah.
he's not even doing what you need him to do.
Yeah.
And maybe he is doing those other things, but like maybe that's the conversation, dude. It's like, hey, I just need you to do like the standard operating procedure that Aaron's just talking about. Like, I just need you to do this thing, this thing, this thing.
Yes. And maybe his skill set is being a trainer, since he's an amazing tech. Have him be the trainer, like
Yeah.
instead of firing him outright, like, hey man, I got this new position. It's called trainer, and that's what you're going to be doing. But if he is like a very abrasive person, maybe you're going to lose. I don't know. You're I don't know.
It seems like you have pretty good other people, so I would not worry about it too much.
Yeah.
Like, but this seems like all right, cool. If he does react like that, Foo Fighters, done, on to the next one.
Yep.
Hey guys, my business partner and I started a commercial cleaning company 3 years ago. We split ownership 50-50. First year was grinding. Nights, weekends, doing our own floor work. Year 2, we scaled fast and landed a couple big medical contracts. Congrats. Last year, we cleared just under $600K in profit. Here's the issue. After we took distributions last year, he changed. He used to be the one pushing growth, sending cold emails, tightening margins. Now he shows up around 10 a.m., leaves at 3, plays golf a lot, and tells the team we don't need to kill ourselves anymore. Meanwhile, I'm still reinvesting, trying to build systems, pushing for expansion into 2 new cities. Every time I bring it up, he says, why risk what we built? Let's just enjoy it. Last month, we lost a bid because we were too slow to respond. I found out he ignored the email for 4 days. There's no operating agreement clause about buyouts or performance standards. We did this on a handshake in a legal Zoom template. We're both married with kids and our families hang out. What do we do?
Get an operating agreement. I guess maybe that's too late. You could still have an operating agreement. I would still make an operating agreement. I would want to know if the money is that they're making, is it earmarked for growth? Is there, like, I'd want to know, like, is there a percentage that's earmarked for, hey, this percentage of the net profit is going towards new vehicles, expansion in any way, is probably what I would want to know. That way you still have that money that's been earmarked for that, for expanding out. Yeah, you could talk to them about the vision that you still have of expanding out bigger and bigger, and see where he's at with that. Maybe he's just put him in charge of the local stuff, and then you can be the guy that's expanding out, and like that's your responsibility. is probably another way you could do that. If like that's your thing, because you run into that a lot, where people who want to like grow, and some people like, I just want to get to this spot and just coast.
Chill. Yeah.
And that's whatever. But if you have the, I want this to keep growing, then be like, all right, you take care of home base. I'm gonna go with that earmarked money we have for expansion. I'm gonna go do the expanding portion of this or whatever. And especially if you could do that and it starts being successful, maybe that'll be the motivator, like, oh shit, I was wrong. Yes, that was good call. I'm glad we're expanding now. So that's what I do. I'm like, hey dude, you're in charge of home base. I'm going to go expand this and go from there.
Yeah. You definitely have to talk about what your values and goals are, because you guys are not aligned on what your values and goals are. And if you guys cannot get aligned on your values and goals, you need to figure something out from there. If that is like buying the person out, or accepting, like as we expand though, I don't even know how you would do that. I think Aaron's right that you'd like need an operating agreement after you have this discussion, where it would be like, and all of the expansion part, like you're still going to get a cut of, but it's not 50-50, because
Right.
you are not interested in the growth aspect. You're not interested in growing this. You're interested in keeping it at like the level that you want.
Sure.
And if he's really not interested in growing it, he should be okay with that. Cause like, okay, cool. So I'm still going to get a percentage.
Yeah.
But I don't have to put it, like, I just have to do the work that we've been doing for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But, you know,
also
he may or may
congratulations
not
on
be okay with that.
building it up to $600,000 in 3 years. That's insane. That's really impressive. And at some point you're going to have to expand anyway. Like, unless you're in like, I mean, like Los Angeles or some giant city, like you would eventually have to move out. I mean, even with Honestly Clean, like we started in like a very small town, and you eventually have to start moving out, and out, because there's just a certain number of buildings that can be cleaned. And so, yeah, you eventually have to expand out anyway if you're wanting to grow. So yeah, I like Alex's idea too. So,
But definitely talk to him, figure out what your values are, and then that's going to give you your
baseline.
What do we do next? Because if he's like, yeah, you know what, maybe I do want to, I do want to expand. Like, all right, this is, now we can build this is how we expand. This is, we can't miss, like, have you addressed I found out he ignored the email for 4 days thing? Because that I understand being very upset about. Totally get that. So that's like something that just elephant address, like that can't happen again. Like that would piss, because that is insane.
That would piss me off. Especially, did he say it was
especially after what we just talked about, where it's like people want responses really quick, like 4 days. He ignored the email for 4 days. That's crazy.
And if that's like a large client, and that's the thing too. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. Like, you'd never know what one client can turn into. It can turn into hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue very easily. So yeah, that would piss me off. Yeah, I'd call him out on that one for sure.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. As always, please send your emails to unsexybusinessman@gmail.com, or ask your questions in the socials, and we will chat with y'all next week. Thank you for listening to the Unsexy Businessmen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. Now go get to work.